Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, November 17. Glad to be here this morning to launch our LaunchPad webinar. That's launched twice, and look forward to having a great webinar this morning. We have lots of interesting news from around the industry, as well as we have a few things to share with you. And if you are already speaking with your clients in regards to holiday marketing, well, I hope that they already started. But we'll give you some of the best business practices from around the industry in regards to when should you start your holiday marketing. So we have an interesting article that addresses three different mediums or tactics, and we'll talk about that. Plus, I want to share a tool of the week, something that Moss just released specifically for new ICs or for ICs that are going to perhaps hire a new content writer on staff, or are looking at doing some writing themselves, or having a project coordinator do some writing. Definitely, this tool of the week will definitely help you. It's a great a tool in regards to the 101s on content writing. So we'll talk a little bit about it. And definitely hope to share that with you. I have here with me Amalia, who's also going to be joining me in this webinar. Amalia, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you enjoy our latest news and articles.
Excellent, excellent. So to begin today's news in regards to what's going on around the internet world, just wanted to let you know that Facebook's now using Google Apps indexing to drive visitors from search into its app. So it's nothing really, let's say, official in regards to a partnership. Just like Twitter pretty much opened up its data source, its data host to Google. This was a little bit different. Basically, what Facebook has done is really stepping up its search engine optimization game by implementing Google App indexing to ensure it continues to get the traffic as the shift to mobile continues. So again, it's a matter of just allowing Google App indexing into Facebook, right? And what it will do again will send searches from Google into the Facebook app, but only on Android and not for all Facebook content. So I'll talk a little bit more about this, but it is something that Google is doing from an SEO perspective themselves to try to capitalize on the traffic that's being generated, particularly via mobile, right? Because it's has to do with the Facebook app. Now, when you look at this, it's Facebook actually allowed Google to index some of its content, desktop content, going back in 2007. At that time, Facebook profile pages were opened up to Google and other search engines, and the whole aspect of indexing is, Google can read all the content on these pages. In turn, when people search, these pages might appear in Google search results, right? So if it's relevant content, it definitely appears on relevant in the top, the top pages, or at least in the top spots in page one, right? So, but now that was, focusing more on the desktop, but now, it's really focusing on individuals who are on mobile, who are searching on mobile. So in this case, when someone clicks on a Facebook listing in Google search, rather than loading a web page with that content, in some cases, Google instead understands how to open the Facebook app and loads the same content within that. Again, this only happens for that content that Facebook has already opened up to Google, such as public profiles, Facebook pages, groups, and events, as soon as they haven't themselves been blocked by Facebook account holders, such as if they're in the private nature. So again, this allows for even your clients who are optimizing their Facebook pages, their Facebook welcome pages, their Facebook posts. It allows for and if they're public, right, which they should be. Um, there's an opportunity for those pages to be better optimized. So here is an opportunity that again, don't let it pass by, because making sure that your clients Facebook pages, welcome pages, etc., and posts are optimized. So this is something that uh, will definitely help in the long term by attracting traffic that's mobile related. Okay, so something very interesting that Facebook just released. The second article that I want to talk about is in regards to Google's natural language search, and pretty much, it's getting smarter. Definitely, is getting better at understanding queries. And according to Satya Salgar, who's the Google product manager, basically, talked about three different ways that the search engine is getting better at understanding our natural language. I know that the last few weeks we've been talking a little bit about artificial intelligence, and obviously with the different things that Google is doing, including rank brain. So in this recent discussion with the Google product manager, he talks about three areas or three types of queries that are being better understood by the search engine itself. So one of them is superlatives. Google now understands superlatives such as tallest, largest, and so on, as well as order items. So you can ask the Google app the following questions: Who are the tallest Mavericks players? Who are the largest cities in Texas? So basically now Google can actually understand that, and in essence provide a response to these type of questions, right? So again, this is focusing a lot also on the Google app, right? So you can definitely ask the Google app this question and they should have a response based on the information they have. Now they may not have a response to all the questions that you have, but for sure it's trying to definitely understand more of these types of questions. The other ones are time-based queries. So, according to Satyajit, Google is better at understanding the time you mentioned in your query. So, for example, what was the population of Singapore in 1965? Or what songs did Taylor Swift record in 2014? So, again, the search engine is getting smarter at understanding that question, and basically providing answer responses to that. So it's very interesting that this is happening, and uh, uh, you know, we'll see how this continues to grow. And then the third type is more complicated queries. So Google's also better at understanding more complex combinations. So Google can now respond to questions like, what are some of Seth Gable's father-in-law's movies? Right? So in this particular type of question is looking at a complicated query where you have different combinations. Seth Gable's father-in-law's movies, right? There's three things that they have to really dig down and search index, not index, sorry, just search and provide an answer to, right? So process, not even search, but just process three levels, right? Seth Gable, father-in-laws, and movies, right, that are pertaining to Seth and his father-in-law. And the other one is, what was the U.S. population when Bernie Sanders was born? Again, complicated query, U.S. population, Bernie Sanders born. So when was Bernie Sanders born? Identify that, identify who Bernie Sanders is, and then look into that specific year and find out the U.S. population. So definitely very interesting that Google is getting smarter and smarter. I always like to joke around because my kids like to play with the Google app, and also with um, um, Sirius, and asking, and always asking her, some crazy questions. But uh, it's interesting too that Google is getting smarter and smarter. So again, also allows us as digital marketers to better optimize our content, and it puts more, I guess, more focus and a higher priority on relevant content, right? Because it's able to pick out these types of queries that are happening and understand them and index them, and then also, that content being ranked or being understood by Google. So again, just wanted to share this with you. Very interesting release, or yeah, very interesting release by Google in regards to the natural language and how they're getting smarter. Excellent, Amalia. You wanted to touch base a little bit on Bing's new release, and definitely something that's very important as Bing continues to grow.
Yes, absolutely. So Google AdWords testing nearby store, store remind. Oh, hang on a second. I'm on the wrong page here. Seems that, sorry, Bing launches their mobile-friendly testing tool. And after a year, after Google launched their mobile-friendly testing tool, Bing has launched their own similar version, the Bing Mobile Friendliness Test Tool. Basically, Bing announced the release of their friendliness test tool. This was basically promised back in May of 2015 when Bing told us they were working on a mobile-friendly Bing ranking algorithm. It was actually expected in the late summer, but it was delayed. The tool basically evaluates a page to check if it's mobile-friendly based on these criteria. One is viewport and zoom control configuration, width of a page content, readability of text on the page, spacing of links and other elements on the page, and use of incompatible plugins. We provided a screenshot of the tool in action. As you can see, it shows a preview of the site on the right. We provided on the right side of our imagery here. Big has not yet announced the launch of the mobile-friendly algorithm, so that may come soon. Bing's blog post does include a lot of detail on why the website might fail any of the above criteria, and Google launched their mobile-friendly testing tool just about a year ago today. Anyways, did you want to add to that, Armando?
Yes, I actually was running a little bit on the WSI World website, and just give me a quick second here. Well, I have some feedback for for uh, for Bing. If you look at the screen, I'm trying to analyze wsiworld.com and it's still analyzing. It took a while, so it's pretty slow. So there, I'm gonna probably submit that feedback to them. So if you look at this, it says this page is mobile friendly. So you can see that as Amalia has shared with us, it kind of looks into specific areas of the page and gives it a plus sign or a negative sign, right? Or a question mark. Sorry, not a question mark, exclamation mark. So viewport configured correctly. Zoom control is not restricted. Page content fits device width. Text on the page is readable. Link and tab targets are sufficiently large and touch friendly. Now here, some resources on the page are blocked by robots.txt configuration. So this is more probably um, technical, but overall it passes. So you can see now that it does have this tool. And again, as Amalia has shared with us, it's just another move that they've also released in order to give priority to mobile searches, mobile users, mobile traffic. So it's not as big as um, Google's mobile get-in, right, in the release of their mobile friendly tool, but yet, it's definitely a good tool to have. Okay, a good tool to actually be able to analyze websites, and specifically if you are optimizing for Bing, because that's where your target audience is, and you definitely want to be very well optimized for Bing. You want to make sure that it does pass this test. Okay, so again, thank you, Amalia, for that. Let me just go back to our
Yeah, for
webinar.
sure.
Excellent. And you're also going to share a little bit more about Google AdWords testing, correct?
That is right, yeah. So basically Google AdWords testing nearby store reminders for all the Google Now users. Basically with the tap of an AdWords ad extension, Google Now will set reminders for users to visit an advertiser location the next time they are nearby, which I think is pretty cool. Google Now users can now set reminders to visit a store the next time they're in the vicinity right from their AdWords ads. A representative from the SEM Post spotted the new Remind Me When I'm Nearby automated extension test in the ads of several large retailers, including Macy's, that's all located in the US, and I'm sure that's going to spread throughout on the desktop search results. We provided a little bit of an image there for you. Basically, clicking or tapping on the location-based store reminder brings up a Google Now card like the one, oh, sorry, I just lost that, like the one shown below. Basically, we added that image there, taken from a Google Help page that a representative found. The card shows a reminder is set to trigger when the user is near the retail stores. The representative also added that the additional screenshots of the retailer ads appearing with the Remind Me When I'm Nearby extension. By the way, that's not the official name, but they're just referring it to that for now, and says that she's only seen these ads on the desktop at this point. They also stated that this is the first integration between Google AdWords and Google Now cards. They have reached out to Google about this test and will update basically with additional information in the near future. Okay, so I thought that was cool, cool add-on.
Yeah, no,
Armando?
this is really good if you're doing if you have a
Yeah,
client that's has an actual brick and mortar store and you want to
yeah,
drive traffic, if specifically now for the holidays, you want to make sure that your paid search specialist or your production team is adding this AdWords tool. However, having said that, it's still a test, so hopefully it will get released. I'm not sure it's going to get released before Christmas time because it's really it's just a helpful tool that you can definitely use in driving traffic. But one of the other things that Google's currently testing, and we have a few others that they're doing. So as I move along, so thank you, Amalia, for that one, and we'll keep you posted as they roll this out in the U.S. and Canada and internationally as well. This new tool. The other thing that I wanted to share with you, as I mentioned last week, I'm going to try to focus the next webinars a little bit more on what's happening in the holidays and what are the tools that your clients can benefit from. And one of the things that I found was from Google AdWords, they actually introduced SMS remarketing, right? And another key thing that they've done is holiday structure snippets. Again, these are two new AdWords features designed to maximize sales during the crucial retail period. They are new, so at this stage we don't have any data to say, okay, to say that these are actually very effective. And I guess the best way to do it is to test it out. The first tool is actually, which is the most powerful tool, is the ability to send marketing messages direct to customers' phones. So a new ad unit has been designed to allow searchers to opt into text message updates when searching on their phones. After tapping on the subscribe button with the ad unit, the customer will be opted to receive text messages from Google. So just give me a quick second because I actually did want to share this on the screen. So one second here. Perfect. So if you look at this, and I'm actually gonna for all the for our attendees, anybody wants to go see the link and really spend a little more time on this, I'm actually gonna post a link here. It's on Google, their Google Plus AdWords updates, and basically, you know what? You can actually see that there's two photos here, and you can see an example here that when the ad comes up, you can actually subscribe. So if you click on the ad, you can actually see get deals via text message, right? So this actually goes into your Google Ads, and if specifically for mobile targeted ads, right? So definitely, you can actually say get deals via text message. So your ads going a little bit more than just the first click. You can actually kind of retarget that person if they choose to, right? Very cool, very interesting too, and a way of maximizing your advertising dollars. So if that were to happen, once after the person actually joins, very, very, very simple text message to the phone now in text form. Thanks for signing up to receive Black Friday deals from Google. Text stop to unsubscribe, and here's the actual offer, right? So again, if you have a client that's running a very strong promotion for the holidays, this is their biggest season. It's something that definitely you can test out with them, and hopefully they'll keep it on just beyond the holidays, because this could be used also for Valentine's, Easter, etc. Right? But for now, they're releasing it for the holiday season, and it's a test again. So based on the success and the usage of this test, we'll see what happens. Now, in the U.S., you can actually start using it right now for Cyber Monday or even for Thanksgiving. So you'll be able to subscribe to the ads if, for example, consumers are searching for Black Friday deals. Okay, so that's one thing that I found that was very cool for the holidays from Google AdWords that you should be looking into. Specifically, again, if your clients are driving specific promotions offers for the holidays. The other piece of news that also they talked about was holiday structure snippets. So basically, Google has introduced this new feature, and this is actually going to help advertisers to highlight any special offers specifically for Black Friday or Cyber Monday. Making use of a holiday structure snippet is just like adding any other kind of structure snippet to an ad. When creating an ad, again, an ad, text ad primarily, that's where it's going to work on text ad via AdWords. Look through the drop down menu and select either Black Friday or Cyber Monday as a header of an ad extension. So if it gets registered as a Black Friday, or let's say, yeah, for example, Black Friday promotion, the way it's going to show up. So let me just go toggle back to my screen here. Um, so for example, if it's a Black Friday deal, if you choose Black Friday deal on the drop down, it's going to definitely show up to subscriber as a Black Friday deal. And in addition, you'll be able to kind of have, be able to see that ad during that day. Or you don't want to do it for Black Friday, you want to do it for Cyber Monday. So you can assign it, right? So it definitely gives you, the advertiser, and marketer, the ability to segment or test out different ads and different promotions for the target audience and consumers. So I thought this was very cool. Definitely, work with your production team, with your in-house paid search specialist to test this out. Primarily, if you are dealing with a store with a client, sorry, that's selling or offering or promoting something for the holidays. So I thought this was also a great tool to share with you. Okay, so moving on, let's just get this going. Oh, this is an interesting news. We all knew that WordPress is, a very dominant tool, a very dominant CMS in the world, and sometimes they do, WordPress, just like Joomla, may get a bit of a bad reputation because they think that because it's open source technology, it's not the greatest CMS out there. However, when you're doing a presentation and focusing, trying to offer or promote WordPress to your prospects and clients, you can now tell them that 1 in 4 sites on the web today run on WordPress, according to W3 Tech surveys, and also to Mullenweg. This number should even be greater by the year's end. And Matt and the team at WordPress pretty much celebrated a milestone because now they're pretty much powering 25% of all sites on the web. Right. So when anybody tells you, "Oh yeah, WordPress, it's not the greatest technology," well, you know what? WordPress has come along. Like any open source technology, it does have great plugins, also not so great plugins. Like any technology needs to be upgraded, right? And one of the things is that upgrades are dependent on the communities, on the WordPress community to upgrade it. It's not really dependent on you, the user. Pretty much these upgrades happen as required, and we have no control over it. But the good thing about it is that it is a CMS that by far is the most popular. As a matter of fact, the stat is, according to W3 Techs, that every 74 seconds, a site within the top 10 million starts using WordPress. Compare this with Shopify, which is the second fastest growing content management system, which is gaining a new site every 22 minutes. So every 74 seconds, a new WordPress site is being launched online. Now, I also wanted to share the market share of the top five content management systems. And you know what? It's not just SMBs that are using WordPress. If you go to the WordPress main site, you'll notice that some Fortune 500s are running their websites on CMS. Obviously, these are more complex versions of the content management system, and they have not only specialized plugins by even custom coding, but you can see here that WordPress is really, far greater than Joomla, Drupal, Magento, Blogger, and this does not even include other brands that are out there, such as, for example, Sitecore, um, Sitefinity. There's so many other DNN type DNN type CMSs, but when it comes to content management overall, you can see here the top ones. WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, Magento, and then Blogger. There's plenty of room for growth for any of the top CMSs on the web, as a whopping 57% of all sites aren't built on any identifiable CMS at all. So there's so many customized CMSs out there that you know what there's the market share is still very open. Okay, so for now, WordPress leads the way. According to W3 Tech, it's calling WordPress one of the biggest success stories on the web. In light of these stats, it's hard to deny such a claim. Obviously, you know, one of every four sites being developed in WordPress. So I wanted to share that stat with you. I know that we've at ALM have focused more on WordPress. We still work on Joomla and Drupal, so we are able to work on these CMSs. But you know what? Just looking at the IC community, we've noticed a trend where everybody is really moving away from Joomla and Drupal into WordPress, even moving away from DNN into WordPress. So I think that the stat or this trend by the IC community and their clients pretty much is reflected on the actual um, market share that WordPress has, 25%. So again, wanted to share this piece of information, very important. I wanted to share also something very interesting that I came across Search Engine Journal, and for anybody that reads Search Engine Journal, this is a great resource, online resource for you to understand not only what's going on our world, but they also have some very interesting interviews, in-depth articles on the specific themes. And the one that I wanted to share with you, and actually I have the full interview at the bottom here on YouTube. It was basically a 5-minute conversation between one of the Search Engine Journal staff and Aaron Everhart. Aaron Everhart is a manager of digital marketing at Home Depot. And this conversation interview took place at PopCon Vegas a few weeks ago. And not only is Erin manager of digital marketing at Home Depot, but she's also a contributor to Search Engine Land, which is another online magazine. So she does have some experience, well experienced individual in the world of digital marketing, and obviously managing the brands such as Home Depot. You know what? You can definitely agree that she can bring some light. And even though she's on the client side and she's been kind of on both in the agency side at times, I believe, she kind of shared her best business practices on selling SEO to C-suites. Right. Again, the full interview is on YouTube, and the links at the bottom. So I'll share that with you just as I finish this slide. But here are some of the takeaways. I would say the top 5 takeaways from this interview, 5-minute interview. One of the things that they talk about, that she talks about, is in order to get the buy-in. You have to start specifically at the C-suite level. You have to start by setting the right expectations from the get-go. Okay, so in our case, from the WSI consulting slash sales process, we have to start this at the IBA level, right? And if you get an opportunity to start prior, let's say when you are kind of starting to book your first appointment with them, or let's say you are speaking at a conference, or you're engaging in a networking event, and you're speaking with prospects, it's very important, specifically at the C level, that you set the right expectations. Okay, number one. Now, let's say your first contact with a CEO or the C-suite is really in an office environment. You want to set the right expectations from the get-go in the initial meetings. And the key thing here is to explain it in terms anyone can understand. So you have to definitely simplify it, right? That's the most important thing that you got to do. You got to simplify it. Obviously, they if you were brought into this meeting with them, they know that you obviously are an SEO or a digital marketer, and they want to make sure that you can uh, educate them, and you have to simplify it so they can understand it. And you have to, number two, relate it back to how it can help achieve business objectives. So you've done your IBA, you've gathered information, you've set some expectations about SEO as you've kind of going through your IBA questionnaire. Now you're moving to the presentation, right, of your proposal, and you want to make sure that whatever you present you're really relating it back to how it can help achieve business objectives, how it addresses the pain that this uh, um, that the C-suite executive has shared with you at the IBA level, right? So very important. Number one, setting the right expectations, and number two, being able to explain it and relate it back to how it can help achieve business objectives. Very, very key. Don't just rifle through the presentation and not address their business objectives when you're doing the proposal, because to them it just becomes another product that they're being pitched. You want to really focus on what their pain point is and address their business objectives. Okay. Now, from Eric's experience, obviously being a digital marketer, she has to interface with different levels of C-suite within Home Depot, right? PR team. She has to also engage with the IT division. She has to also engage with top level management, right? So from her experience, she talks a little bit about visits and revenue are the two key metrics that CEOs care about, right? Keywords rankings are nice, but on their own, they're not as compelling as traffic and revenue data. Now, again, I'm looking at C-suite. I'm not talking about the small business side or the small business owner who's still probably thinking about keyword rankings because that's all they know. That's how they've been educated. However, at the C level, they don't really care about keyword rankings. They want to know, okay, how many more visits do I have this month versus last month, or how many more visits do I have this quarter versus last quarter? What's the growth pattern? How does it compare to last quarter, last year, this time? So year to, you want to perhaps do year to year comparisons, etc. And the second thing is revenue data, right? How does that work out to data? How does that reflect in data? So again, very important when you're doing SEO to spend the time and even add in your packages goals settings for Google Analytics, because you want to be able to track conversions that are happening online, and you want to track the conversions that are specifically coming from the organic side, right? So you can justify the investment being placed on SEO. Google or Analytics and the goal settings in the dashboard, they don't just pertain to PPC or paid search or or any others. You want to definitely have a good set of goal settings that can reflect the performance of SEO when it comes to revenue data, right? So she talks a little bit about that. And one of the key things that she recommends is you want to show the data in such a way that they can understand it, right? So visualizing the data is key through a PowerPoint presentation, through graphs. Again, you're doing comparisons year to year, month to month, quarter to quarter. That's very important, right? So again, this is also very key. Once you've brought in this account and you're kind of showing you're submitting your reports to them, or you're presenting your monthly reports to them, that you're doing that, you're addressing visits and revenue. The other thing that she talks about is really starting small when pitching SEO tactics, right? Now we go into an organization sometimes and you know what, we want to change everything, right? We know that the URL are not friendly. We know that they're not the technical SEO component. It's broken. There's loopholes. The web scan gives us a lot of feedback on that. So what you want to do is, as opposed to focusing on let's say a large project, start small. And I kind of like the approach that some of the ICs that we work with focus on. Um, is that you want to start small when pitching SEO tactics. You want to focus on the quick wins rather than trying to sell them on projects that are massive in both scale and budget. So again, start small when pitching SEO tactics. I know that as SEO specialists, we want to go into an organization and change, well, for the best. We want to change everything, help them. We see the need, but you know what? Again, sometimes you got to start small, right? And we've experienced that with some of the consultants that we're working with that are working with larger organizations, that sometimes it's really about that whole crawl, walk, run approach, right? So focus on the quick wins rather than trying to sell them on projects that are massive in both scale and budget, because they will get scared and turned off, right? And if they're if they have specific budgets to meet, you definitely want to start small. Achieving success with a few of these quick win tactics is a step towards proving the value of SEO and getting buy-in for some larger projects. So once you have implemented that small tactic and you have these quick wins, obviously you want to share them. You want to want to share the results, and you want to position in such a way that they can understand how these results brought more visits and revenue. by and large, SEO is underfunded, so that's a point being made. But businesses are willing to pay for it if they can be shown how it works, right? So again, these are things that that she shares. Now, one of the questions that Alistair has is, is traffic irrelevant? Well, when you're looking at the organic traffic, it's still part of those sessions and part of those visits that they're getting, right? So I would still use that as a KPI. Organic traffic being one of the KPIs that you're measuring, and you can break that organic traffic through via sessions, right? And share that with your, and also repeat users, right? You want to kind of share those numbers with the C-suite, because they can actually see, okay, my investment is not just bringing visitors once, but you know what, they're coming back again. So that's number one. And number two, again, is the revenue data. You know what? These are two things that she mentions. Whether I think she does bring a good point in regards to focusing on the bottom line, the revenue, based on her experience. But then you know what? If you are talking, let's say, to a director of marketing or a marketing manager within that organization, they may tend to be a little bit more analytical, right? I mean, if you're talking to an IT director who has to give you the who has to give the green light for an SEO project, because you're going to be touching their website and making adjustments to the website, and so you have to get buy-in. For them, it's probably going to be visits and revenue, right? And also for a CEO, that's what they care. But if you're discussing it with a marketing manager, for example, you may have to nail down a couple of more KPIs, right? Uh, because obviously they may be more analytical and want to review more information, more data before they make a decision. But those are things that I can share from our experience, right? So have a good set of KPIs, and they're really addressing your target audience. So you may choose to have 5 KPIs, but you know what? You're only going to share 2 with A type C-level executive, or B type, you may share 4 or 5. So make sure that you do that. But overall, as you can see, by and large, SEO is underfunded. Even though it's underfunded, there is hope. They're willing to pay for it if they can be shown how it works and the results of it, right? So again, baby steps. So I thought that if you have a chance uh, uh, to check out this interview, and they have a few more that I'm going to start probably sharing in our webinars. Not some of them are really good, some of them are just interesting to just review. But I thought that this one was something that I wanted to share with you, because we're hearing it from somebody who's obviously very experienced. So I just shared that with you on the um, on the chat for you to see. Excellent. So another great article that I was kind of looking for to share with the group today was, the whole aspect of holiday marketing and when should we start. Okay. Even though the stats are out there that nearly a third of consumers started the shopping in October, you can also see that there's a bit of a backlash. Thousands of people have signed petitions on Change.org to boycott retailers like Walmart, Target, and Sears on Thanksgiving and Black Friday, and uh, uh, many people are a little bit upset because the season has become so commercialized, and some companies just monopolize all advertising, so it does get a bit annoying. So in order to not be so annoying, the question has been posed as, when is the right time to start advertising? And this is a great article from ClickZ, and the team at ClickZ, and they asked the different experts in the field. They asked an expert in the area of social, search, and email, 3 tactics that are very important. So according to Jen Deeren Davis, who's the author in chief of Union Metrics, uh, now again, you're gonna in this article, if you're able to go read it, you'll notice that there is a point of view and opinion from an expert, and then there's also a consensus at the end. So you get bit of a different opinions, and you can definitely see that there is a trend at the end on when you should start. So for example, according to social, right, you definitely want to start 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. So for now, if you haven't done anything social for your clients and they have a major promotion, it's time to really start ramping up. And based on Jandier and Davis, that's when the Twitter activity tends to start picking up momentum, increasing in volume each day. So last year, so in 2014, there were 6.8 million holiday-related tweets the week of Thanksgiving. 43% were on Black Friday. So again, it's a really a crazy, mad stampede of tweets that happen on these days. So the best time to start, the panel recommends, is really the second week of November. That way, by the week of Black Friday, consumers won't be seeing your deals for the first time. So you want to start kind of working along the way, along the path, the second week of November. Start putting out there your promotions, your offers on social, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, etc., and being able to share that with your audience or with your existing customer base or consumers, right? Okay, so this is for social. Okay, when we move along from search perspective, according to Alex Funk, who's the senior director of pay media at iProspect, so when we're looking at search, we're looking at primarily paid search. He recommends working on your holiday segments through the fall. This ensures that they're all aligned and categorized for when people are searching during the peak of holiday shopping insanity. When it comes to actually deploying your search ads, it's better to wait until closer to the actual days of the deals to avoid ad blindness. So again, preparation is very key. It has to be strategic, not just ad hoc. And the best way to do it is, as he has mentioned, is really starting to spread the message throughout the fall to make sure that by the time you're hitting the holidays, it's not the first time that your clients have seen the ads or your brand, but they're already, pre empted on the things that are coming. And according to the panel, the best time to start ideally should have worked on your segments through the fall. If you haven't already updated your website during the first 2 weeks of November to reflect your holiday deals, and this is for the US primarily, right? Because for Thanksgiving, so the search engines they recommend that you actually update your website 2 weeks of November to reflect your holidays deals, so that search engines will have had a chance to index them by the week of Thanksgiving. So don't update your website the night before or 3 days before or the week before Thanksgiving. Similar things applies to Christmas. You want to be able to start deploying your campaigns in the first or second week of Christmas, right? Again, specifically for Canada, who has a Thanksgiving in October, well, and we don't have a Black Friday, so for the Canadian uh, uh, marketers, they recommend that you do it. Ideally, start like the last week of November, first week of December. You start really putting out there your ads subtly, and then become a little bit more aggressive. But you don't want to be in a situation where you want to really overdo it and overkill in the last week, right? So again, uh, um, they do recommend that you start in advance uh, very early on in the months of November and December. Okay. Excellent. What about email marketing? Well, during the holiday season, email marketing is very, very, very crucial, very important. And according to Gene Jennings, you should start thinking about your holiday emails a little earlier than you do social, right? So we're looking at what October, early October, and according to Jennings, who's the managing director of digital marketing, start with a low percentage of holiday marketing and gradually increase as the date approaches. Now, although she mentions gradually increase, doesn't mean that you have to overkill it with the promos and email blasts, right? You want to make sure that everything is done tactfully. And according to Jennings, she advises that you should have your holiday marketing full swing in advance of Black Friday and Cyber Monday, right? Don't hold off until the week before. Again, start earlier. So right now we have a week left, so you should definitely be launching something, or you should have already launched something for your clients. Now, if let's say Thanksgiving, you're a little bit late in the game, not to worry, we still have Christmas, so this can prepare you for Christmas. If you can definitely start your Christmas promotions and offers in again early December, first week of December, uh, probably even right after Thanksgiving is done, after Cyber Monday, you can start now focusing a little bit more on Christmas promos. In Canada, again, they recommend email marketing. Start a few weeks earlier. Start promoting this specifically, since you want to also capture those early shoppers, whether they're online or actually at the store or retail front, right? Um, One of the things I did talk about is focus heavily on the third and fourth weeks of November. As Thanksgiving draws closer, it becomes harder to stand out within increasingly crowded inboxes. Okay, so if your client is looking at doing a promotion and wants to send it, 3 days before Thanksgiving or 3 or 4 or 5 days before Christmas because they want to capture those last minute shoppers, the efficiency level is a little bit different, right? And I wanted to share this also stat that they talk about email marketing, which is very crucial and important at this time of the season. According to Yes Mail, which analyzed last year's email marketing campaigns for 30 major brands, including Target, Macy's, Best Buy, and the Home Depot, the research found that all of the emails sent during the last 3 months of 2013, 38.7% were sent in December. Okay, so this stat is a US stat, but it definitely tells you that Christmas still has a great pull for email marketing. Now, below here, if you can see my screen, you're also going to see some of the average open rates that are happening, right? And basically, it shares these open rates by themes. So if you can look at it between holiday emails sent between October 26th and November 19, for example, on a general holiday, had an open rate of 14.7% compared with 13.9% open rate for those sent between November and December 30. So Thanksgiving fell that year, on the 20th. So you can see the difference in open rates. There's a bit of a higher open rate if you are able to send, for example, your Christmas promotions or emails earlier in November rather than later, right? Because from November 23rd to December 30, you can see that it has a lower open rate. It's less effective. Okay, so you can definitely see that you want to make sure that you do it. You start promoting your promotions early, right? You set a timeline. You don't want to overdo it through via email marketing, and you don't want to leave it till the end because then it's just going to get drowned with all the other promotions. Okay. So very interesting stat that they share with us in regards to the average open rates and the effectiveness of these Christmas-driven promotions versus just general holiday promotions. Okay, perfect, excellent. Um, so that was pretty much what I wanted to share with you in regards to this excellent article on ClickZ. And definitely, if you want to learn more, you can visit their website, and it's pretty much in the top 10 articles right now that are running. But a lot of great information. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is the tool of the week, Moss's The Beginner Guide to Content Marketing. And I wanted to share this tool for various reasons. It's a tool that you, as a consultant, can use to help your team in their content writing process, right? Whether you have your own in-house content writer or whether you work with a production team, whether you work with series, whether you work with ALM, whether you work with any of the production centers in the network and they have content writers, or whether you work with a third-party content writer, a freelancer. This is always a good tool to have because sometimes even the best writers they have writer's block, right? And as a result they get discouraged and you know what, they tend not to write the best content. So I wanted to share this with you, and if you give me a quick second, I'm actually going to go to the actual website, and they actually did a very good job in this new guide that they've released, and they actually take a look at about I believe it's about 9 quick chapters, right? And it starts from content marketing 101. So this is a very good chapter for a content writer that perhaps doesn't have any experience uh, writing online, right? For online, for websites, for blogs, etc. There are still a lot of great writers out there, freelancers that they still you know they have great writing skills, but they're still having challenges. Really, content marketing, content writing. So it gives them a little bit of history. Then there's a whole aspect of a content strategy, very key. I definitely recommend that you, as a consultant, definitely take a look at this and really focus on with your team on having the right strategy. Right now, primarily, if you can develop a templated strategy that can be replicated for your other clients, it will definitely help you. Right. So, what should you have on your content strategy? What's a content marketing strategy thing? So, it definitely breaks it down for you. Right. So, it's a great exercise that you can do when you're onboarding a new client and you're don't know what we should be writing about. You don't. So, take the time. Remember, too, right? Even though you are getting an assistance from a experienced or semi-experienced or no experience at all content writer, don't just send them to the link and let them do it. You should also read this because you need to understand what the whole content marketing strategy is all about, because you will also need to educate the client. Right, at some point in time the client has to participate in this exercise, so you want to make sure that you have a plan. So pretty much this guy gives you a generic plan. The other thing that I definitely would recommend you review is the content ideation, and this is very important because sometimes we run out of ideas. Right? What do we write about? So it gives you a whole breakdown on where ideas come from, content freshness, which is very crucial. I always get these questions from ICs in regards to how do I come up with fresh content, and I'll tell you it's the biggest challenge for any writer. Right, so where can I get my writer some ideas for content writing? So inspiration for boring industries, right? So definitely, when you go there, it tells you how you can maximize your benefit from the new. It just gives you topics and how do you address difficult topics, how do you make it fun, etc. I'm gonna go back and sorry if I'm kind of scrolling fast, but there was one that I really like, and I think it was within this specific one. I was thinking of some of our clients that we're working with. This one is pretty cool. Competitive research. Find out what's working for the other guy, right? You want to look at competitive research. You want to see what they're doing. You want to see what your client's competition is doing, and don't just stop in local competition. But you know what? Why don't you go to other cities? See if your client is in Chicago. Why don't you look at what plumbers in New York are writing about? Why don't you look at what furniture stores are writing about on their blogs if in Chicago or Florida? Don't just focus on local competition. Expand the horizon when you're doing a bit of competitive research. So the other thing that you want to kind of know is what you want to know in your research. Very key is not just the topic, but what's trending, right? What's getting links, what keywords are the top traffic earners, who follows whom, and what do they share, and what type of contents are the top branding writing. So this is very key to this whole aspect of content creation, right? So you want to look at Google Trends, see what's trending out there in regards to specific topics. Definitely focus on that, and we get a lot of information via Google, so that's important. What's getting links, so you can use Open Site Explorer to see which pages on your competitor sites are getting the most links and who those links are coming from. So again, here Moz is pitching a little bit of their tool, but it's definitely a very helpful tool. You can also use SEM Rush as well. What keywords are the top traffic earners? Again, you can use different tools for that. But again, this would be something that I would recommend chapter a must read, at least at the consulting level, because you want to make sure that you're guiding the team. So definitely would highly recommend chapter number 5 on content ideation. And there's another one that I kind of looked at, which is analysis and reporting is very good, but also content promotion. Sometimes, we don't know what to promote. Like, what do I do? Like, what are the ideas that we can come up with for promoting the content? So again, it gives you a whole bit of a general strategy on how to work it out. So it's a great tool. Definitely use it. It's a guide that's going to take you, a few days to really, you know, grab the meat that you want to use in-house for your own team. But again, it should be something that you should review. So I'm going to post it here on the chat box, and definitely would recommend you check it out. So there's no more excuses about saying I can't get my my client to help me. Well, you know what? This beginner's guide, even feel free to share some of these specific chapters with your clients. Have them read about it, because there are clients that do take pride in content and want to be part of the process. You know, those ones you want to have them participate. So again, a great tool from Moss. I just released it. Have a look at it, and hopefully it will definitely help you. Excellent. Not major any questions this week. Thank you everybody for joining us. It's been great. Amalia, I believe you wanted to share something or anything from your side just before we close off.
Yes, in fact, I just want to have everybody have a quick reminder. We are having our website promotion going on this month. Basically, we are offering free responsive web design. So please do reach out to myself or Michelle or Armando if you have any questions at all. That does expire on November 27th. So do try to reach out to us. Hopefully, get sign something on for one of your clients. And by all means, please let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah, the other thing that I
Mhm.
wanted to share is that next week, I guess we were planning to have a speaker, and as a matter of fact, a guest in our webinar. However, given the holidays, it's maybe a little bit slow, as we know everybody's going to be, pretty much preparing. So do be on the lookout. But for sure, if it's, I will let you know. I know Amalia will probably be sending out an email to everybody. But if it doesn't happen on the 24th, for sure, the 1st of December, we'll have a guest speaker. Now, I'm looking at bringing one or two, just finalizing a few things, and definitely we look forward to bringing an expert to share some of best business practices. One of the ones that I'm looking at is really in regards to the whole aspect of lead generation, and I've been speaking to John McKenzie um, at Integrity Leads, and we're just trying to nail down the best date possible. So again, we'll keep you posted, keep in tune, and we'll probably most likely be updating it on Google Groups and also on K2. And also, I know that the team will be notifying you as well. So thank you again for coming. Have a great week, great day, and thank you for joining us.